Something is happening in America that hasn't happened since the Great Depression. More people are leaving than coming.
I walked away from my debt. I left my car parked in front of the bank that financed it, and I didn't pay my rent for 2 months.
40% of the people in the U.S. say they want to leave the country.
For the first time since the Great Depression, more people are leaving the United States than arriving. Not immigrants being turned away, Americans packing up and moving out on purpose. In 2025 alone, an estimated 150,000 to 250,000 more people left the country than entered it.
Before I got evicted, I moved out. So what were the consequences to my actions? If you're new here, my name is Lorena. I left the United States 2 years ago and moved to Colombia. I kind of played the system. And a lot of you guys are asking me or wondering, did you get punished for that? And the simple answer is, not really. It's fear-mongering. I'm only here to tell you what happened to me and what my experience was. So let's start with the credit card debt. What happened? Nothing. They just reported me to the credit bureau. They eventually charged it off. It went to collections, and that's where it's at. And in about 3-4 more years, it'll disappear from my credit because that's how the rules work. In the meantime, if I was living in the US, my credit would be considered shot. But I'm not living in the US anymore. I live in Colombia, and I have pristine credit in Colombia. And the credit that I have in the United States doesn't matter here because credit scores are a fucking American sham. So, yeah, and frankly, by the time I chose to walk away from my debt, I had already been late on several payments because the minimums were so high, and these credit card companies were unwilling to work with me. So they had already damaged my credit, which means they left me with nothing to lose. What about my car? I left my car parked in front of the bank that financed it, tossed the keys into the ATM box, and called customer service to let them know where they could find it. And what were those consequences? Nothing. All I got were a bunch of letters that I owed them this, I owed them for towing, I owed them for blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. Go argue with your mama because I'm not paying rent. And then came the letters saying that if you don't pay this, hurt your credit and it's going to go to collections. Which I was like, everything's in collections. Might as well put it in there. Again, in 7 years, it ain't going to matter. And then my rent. I didn't pay that for 2 months. But here's the thing. I didn't have a landlord. I didn't have an actual person I was paying my rent to. My building was owned by a property management firm that owned 400 other properties in the United States. I didn't pay my rent for 2 months, packed all my shit, and left the keys on the counter. Before they could file an eviction, I was gone. And about a month later, I received a letter from their lawyers. And I remember opening that and being like, oh, this is going to be fun. And the letter simply said, tenant vacated the property and that all is fine. It didn't request that I pay back previous rent, but if it had, I wasn't going to pay it. They could stick that shit in collections as well. Throw it into the collections party. To the theory of consequences, that didn't show up. Not that way. And that's my story.
That's a pretty dramatic increase from just 18 months ago when it was 24%. And when I started my journey that brought me here 3.5 years ago to this small Caribbean island, it was only 10% wants to leave. Is changing too. It's not just boomers and Gen X like me that want to leave. Millennials, 52% of them want to leave the country. And among Gen Z, it's 63%. Now, of the 40% that want to move to somewhere else in the world, only 2.5% will do it. They call that the dream gap. The gap between the 40% who dream of leaving and the 2.5% who will actually do it. And the reason that dream gap is so big is because this is hard. It's not an easy thing to do. It took me 8 years of planning and preparing before I was able to move down to this small Caribbean island 3.5 years ago. And during that time, I learned a lot. And I've realized that I can share that with you to make it easier for you to do it. So I'm committing I'm going to do 3 things. The first thing is I'm going to be doing a lot more content about how to plan, prepare for, and move out of the United States to another country. And I'm going to figure out some way to organize it so it's easier for you to find the information you want. Second, starting every Tuesday at 7 p.m. my time here, I'm going to be doing a live on TikTok where I'm going to talk to you about a different concept. And importantly, I'm going to be accessible to you so you can ask me questions and I can answer them in real time. And then third, Ro and I have decided that one of the things we want to do with Utila Lux is throw conferences. So we're going to do one in February and one in March of next year, where you can come down to this island and spend a week with us, and we can teach you exactly how to make that move, not just to this beautiful island, but to anywhere in the world. Because I really believe that a lot more than 2.5% of you should be able to reach your dream.
The United States is not a place to live. The United States is optimized for making money. It's optimized to support entrepreneurship. It's optimized to attract very good talent for critical services. You cannot expect a country that is optimized for those things to also be able to provide you with the best quality of life possible. There is no such thing as one place doing everything. So here's the play that I would think about, and this is what I'm doing personally. Take your income and move abroad. We can help you figure out where that place for you would be. Where would you actually get the best quality of life? Lower your cost of living significantly while severely increasing your quality of life. You could take that extra grand, 2, 3, 4, 5 grand, and do what with it? Buy American equities and get rich over the long run. That's what I'm doing. That's what a lot of the guys that I'm friends with that are living abroad, and a lot of the people that we work with that are living abroad are doing.
Had net negative migration in 2025, and it's expected to get worse this year. And it's not just retirees, it's young Americans, especially women. A Gallup poll showed that 40% of American women ages 15 to 44 would permanently move abroad if they could. Americans are moving to nearly every EU country in record numbers. The number living in Portugal has jumped nearly 500% since COVID. Applications for UK citizenship just hit an all-time high. And last year, more Americans moved to Germany and Ireland than citizens from those countries moved here. This isn't just a digital nomad phase. There's now a months-long backlog of Americans trying to renounce their citizenship. So if anyone knows of any UK immigration officers, please DM me.